A very good afternoon and welcome to the Gowan Group Stadium for Spurs versus Man City in the Barclays Women's Super League. Match day 12 for both of these two, who have been in excellent form recently. 4 straight wins for Spurs, 6 consecutive victories for Manchester City. Those runs both across all competitions. That run for City starting with an emphatic 7-0 win when these sides met in the reverse fixture in late November. And nothing less than a continuation of that run will help Manchester City re-close the gap on Chelsea at the top after Chelsea won 3-0 at Brighton yesterday. I'm Michael McCann, your matchday commentator. A great pleasure to have your company in East London for this one, where Spurs will look to show just how much they've improved so far this season. They have as many points accumulated in the first half of the campaign, the 11 games of 22 played so far, as they managed in all of last season when narrowly avoiding relegation. The glow-up under Robert Villahamon has been very noticeable. This is his starting lineup for the day. One change from the side that won 4-3 in that epic 7-goal thriller against West Ham a week ago. Charlie Grant comes in for Angarad James down one flank, but it's actually a double change in terms of the fullbacks. Amanda Nielden gets a start as well. Ashley Neville out with a thigh strain. As for Manchester City, they're the ones who've made one change. Philippa Angel-Dahl, who started in the midweek Conti Cup win against Manchester United, comes in for Jill Roord, who unfortunately has suffered that horrible ACL injury in that particular fixture. So one alteration for Manchester City from the team that won 5-1 against Liverpool in their last league game. Of course, both teams have had Conti Cup action since. Manchester City got themselves a win against Manchester United by 2-1, which has confirmed their spot in the Conti Cup quarter-finals, which will be played on the 7th or 8th of February. Spurs won 3-0 at Championship side Southampton, and that meant that they finished second in their group behind Arsenal, finishing behind the Gunners courtesy of losing to them on a penalty shootout when they met in that particular head-to-head. So Spurs looking to keep up their good form, but remember there's plenty of football to be watching elsewhere as well. Bristol City against West Ham United, a massive game at the bottom of the table, is kicking off right about now as well. Later on today, starting in 2.5 hours, is Liverpool versus Arsenal. Of course, a couple of games already completed earlier on across your feast of Sunday football. So Manchester City in their changed black kit to attack from left to right as we look at things in our commentary box. At the start of this first half, Spurs from right to left. A moment to take a stand by taking a knee against all forms of racism and discrimination. Incredibly important that this space is for all of us to enjoy, regardless of your identity. Off and underway then. Two sides in red-hot form. And Tottenham Hotspur looking to make it 5 in a row. Manchester City hoping to make it 7. One of the fixtures of the weekend to look out for. And if Manchester City are to realistically challenge Chelsea for the title this season, it is probably the kind of game that they have to be travelling back north with 3 points in their back pocket. And that is no disrespect to Spurs, because it's a very tough task for them. They do have an excellent record in this head-to-head. They've won 7 of their 8 WSL games against Spurs. The only one they didn't win was when it was the so-called Hand of Roz. Spurs winning 2-1 at Manchester City, possibly through the help of the hand of a certain Rosella Ryan, who is on the bench today for Spurs. Manchester City have won every other meeting between them across the 7 league games. They've beaten them a couple of times in the Cup. All of those encounters across the last 5 years. Alessandri. Kasparai. Back to Chiara Keating, having something of a breakthrough season in the Manchester City goal. Of course, Ali Roebuck has been conspicuously absent. Sandy McKeever on the bench. But it is Keating that has very much dominated in terms of possession of the shirt. Keating started 14 of the 16 games thus far across all competitions. Alex Greenwood, such a brilliant distributor out of the back. And under Gareth Taylor in more recent times has evolved from a fullback into a quite magnificent left centre-back whose progressive passing numbers are right up there with the very best around. First touch of the ball for Barbara Votikova. Been a valuable addition in goal for Spurs this season. And now a first, well, I was going to say first touch for Charlie Grant. It didn't work out quite as she'd have liked. Grant, who scored in midweek for Spurs in that 3-0 win against Southampton. This new look fullback pairing, and that's going to be one of the key tactical battles to really keep your eyes on today. Lauren Hemp and Chloe Kelly, who will swap flanks a lot themselves, up against Charlie Grant and Amanda Neal-Den. And here is the aforementioned Kelly. Does just about keep it in, but Amanda Neal-Den wins the first round of what will be a long battle, you imagine, and does pass it out into touch. For those unfamiliar, and Amanda Neal-Den signed from Juventus on loan in January, can play at centre-back and in the full-back areas. Robert Villahamon does like tactically flexible players, so she certainly fits into that. Left-footed, loves to get forward, has played in the WSL before for Brighton. He says it's a dream to come back to the WSL and that Spurs are building a big project that she's excited to be here with. Neal-Den has represented Sweden 7 times as well. Laia Alexandri trying to find a pass between the lines, cut out well by Neal-Den, and now a chance for Grace Clinton to run forward. Finds Beth England, who gets in a proper physical tussle with Alex Greenwood. That's going to be a battle to keep an eye on through the day. Don't be deceived by the sunshine, it is bitterly cold here at Brisbane Road. We're at about 7-8 degrees and chuck in a bit of wind chill. It's a day for the jacket. Spurs on the high press. It's been a real feature of Robert Villahamon's coaching so far. Bunny Shaw has dropped deep and spun magnificently. That is Bunny Shaw at a quite brilliant best. And suddenly an attacking platform for Manchester City. Hemp inside, Coombs starting to tick the ball around in the way that they can look so impressive. Kelly, always bright, always a threat. Hasegawa. Kelly going around the outside, then checking back. Linking up with Kasparai, who gets the 1-2 and it's in a lot of space. Neal-Den's lost her. Kasparai's cross, headed half away. Still in there, Angeldal couldn't quite shoot. Still there for Manchester City. Hemp. Tried to put one in. Was cut out by Olga Attinen. Nicely worked move. And Wahabi ultimately manages to win the corner. First extended spell of pressure for Manchester City, trying to pick the lock early. I have good memories of facing Spurs, of course, the first time these sides met. 7-0 winners on the 26th of November. A first half hat-trick from Khadija Bunny Shaw. He's making her 50th WSL appearance today, already has 41 goals. Would be a brave person to possibly bet against scoring again today. Hasegawa. It's a clever training ground routine, and Hasegawa's caught late. That's a clear free kick. There's no attempt from Clinton to even think of arguing with the decision. An immediate hand up in the air and apologies for Grace Clinton. He's worked her way into the Lionesses setup this season, of course, and scored 2 goals in the midweek Conti Cup win. N17 Women podcast called Amazing Grace, referring to Grace's brace after she scored those 2. Beg your pardon, of course not in the Conti Cup win, in the 4-3 win against West Ham is what I meant to say. Clinton borrowed from Manchester United, very much making Spurs her home this season. Now, who will it be for Manchester City? So many options. Greenwood, Kelly, Hasegawa, what a choice. It's round the wall, and it's a brilliant save by Votikova to deny Alex Greenwood. An excellent free kick, and the save was just as good, if not more impressive. Barbara Votikova at her brilliant best. As Keating has a slightly nervous moment at the other end. Well, this is a game that was billed somewhat as being between two teams with every willingness to get on the ball and attack and make things happen. And we've seen plenty of signs of that even in the early stages. I suppose pressing high in the first few moments. And then Manchester City almost grabbing the lead there. There's so much attacking quality on the pitch with these two sides, and I suppose particularly this season have gone in a very different tactical direction under Robert Villahamon compared to where they were last time around with Rhian Skinner. Villahamon wanting players who are good on the ball, right for the team, and emphasis on keeping possession and attacking. Said in press conferences he'd rather in 3-2 or 5-4 than 1-0. And that's certainly been proved in Spurs' approach, and you know with Manchester City, the quality they've got, they'll always be entertaining. Very hard to keep quiet. It's Hasegawa. Slipped inside, Hemp, twisting and turning. Greenwood. Just trying to work an opening, an overload down this left flank. Coombs has put herself in an advanced position there for a second. Hotspur. It's been a valuable addition to Manchester City since signing in the summer of 2022. The Dutch right back. Been a very consistent presence down that flank for the citizens. Hemp down the line for Coombs. Hemp again. Just stopping and then turning on the afterburners with the acceleration. Looking for Shaw. Oh, it's an own goal. Manchester City have the lead. Looked to me to have come off Molly Bartrip. Khadija Bunny Shaw was in the vicinity. But it's a bit of fortune in truth for the visiting side, but created by their own excellent play down the left. Hemp with that classic stop and then charging forward. And it's Amy Turner, in fact. It comes off Turner's chest. A moment to forget for Amy Turner, created by Hemp's cross, and that is just what Spurs wouldn't have wanted. Having lost the reverse fixture 7-0 between these two, almost 2 months ago to the day, they find themselves 1-0 down here. Really strange goal. Turner and Votikova maybe in a moment of miscommunication. And now Votikova has to slide and scramble at the feet of Khadija Bunny Shaw. Nervous moments for Spurs. Sent forward, England chasing in the channel. Back at the feet of Keating. And Keating now has her effort blocked. That's great hustle in there by Martha Thomas. But hustle at this time comes to nothing. Thomas, who's been arguably the signing of the season, or certainly one of. 7 goals in the WSL. At one point she was the top scorer in the division. She's also picked up a Barclays WSL Player of the Month crown already this campaign. Thomas signed from Manchester United after playing just 9 games in 2 years there. In her words, playing under a manager whose values allow me to thrive is what's brought out the best in her this season. Enjoying life under Robert Villahamon. And of course a good way to endear yourself to Spurs fans is scoring the winner in the North London derby. But right now Spurs are on the back foot once more as Kelly wins a corner. Spurs have got to dig in and try and avoid conceding a second. Manchester City have got their foot on the accelerator pedal. Do they go short? They've gone short when they had that corner on the other side, tried to work something. Or does Greenwood look to zing the ball into the box off that wand of a left foot that she's got? Such a good distributor from dead ball situations. And it comes from Greenwood. Only half cleared, volleyed back in. A brave block back there. It's not a head injury, so neither side are obligated to stop, although the referee may do so now. The referee will. Brings what's been a somewhat frantic first 12 minutes or so to a brief pause. And everyone can just take a breath. Let's have a look at that incident from the start again. Plenty going on. And volleyed back towards goal. And Spurs were briefly eyeing a counter-attack. But will probably be pretty content, having just gone 1-0 down, that they've got a moment to just think and breathe. And you can see something of a almost tactical timeout being done there in terms of the players speaking to each other, just to be clear before those words are misinterpreted. Not in any way dismissing the seriousness of the injury. That was struck pretty fiercely, but it does give Spurs this opportunity. And Beth England, you can see, is such a leader within the group. She's there in conversation with Neil Dem, with Clinton, with Turner and with Votikova. Spurs temporarily down to 10 then. And drop balls no longer a thing of the past in terms of being contested. That was changed a little while back now. Manchester City get the ball back because they had it before. Asagawa carrying it forward. And it is Molly Bartrett yet again in the ball. She does seem to be, and it's something I know even the squad have talked about in the past, it does always seem to be Molly Bartrett who is particularly in the wars when it comes to injuries for Spurs and blocks at the back and putting her body on the line. Too much on the ball forward, and Keating can just calmly sit with it at her feet for a second before getting things going. Chiara Keating, it feels like has been around for a long time on the scene, but is still so young, of course. Came through the academy and is really starting to flourish in first-team colours, particularly this season. She made her debut way back in the Conti Cup in January 2022, 2 years ago now, against Leicester City. Impressed against Chelsea in particular early on this season. It's a great save against Millie Bright that's stuck in my head. Gareth Taylor's talked about the fact he's got 3 good goalkeepers who offer different things. Right now his side are offering plenty going forward as well, as Kelly sends it on. Angeldal. Asagawa. Sumanen looking for the pass. Oh, that's a terrible back pass. Well, that's what Manchester City are appealing for, and you can understand why. Well, that could have been an indirect free kick in the box. It's not given as so by referee Melissa Burgeon. It was played back by Molly Bartrett. I think Bartrett was actually looking to pass to Amy Turner rather than to Votikova, but you can definitely understand Manchester City's point. Back to Votikova. Manchester City having much the better of the contest so far. Asagawa just caught late. I do like to often go short from free kicks, Manchester City, rather than put the ball directly into the box. I know it's something one opposition analyst from another WSL club told me that it's a consistent pattern of theirs. As Kelly gets bundled over, it's a clear free kick. And again, you saw it there. Kelly was looking to go short to Kirsten Kasparai. This time, it appears will be one where the ball might get put into the box. Off the boot of Alex Greenwood. And it comes from Greenwood. But it only half clear. Now Spurs can eye something on the break. They've had precious little going for them on an attacking front so far. And there's Khadija Bunny-Shaw to deal with the danger. Just another example of her defensive work. They were absolutely raving about her, and well, they might be on the Manchester City women fan cast, talking about how her work with Sean Goat has improved her link-up play, made her passing crisper, the way she gets back and does her defensive duties like she did there, and also the fact that she's putting the Manchester City Women's Supporters Club out of business, because as well as the match ball she collects for every hat-trick, of course she has 3 hat-tricks in her last 4 league games, the Supporters Club also buy her a football from the club shop, which is rapidly potentially running out of footballs, and in turn leaving the Supporters Club a bit short of a bob or two, but that's a good problem to have. Alexandri. Manchester City in control here. Spurs have got to find an answer. Easier said than done. Spurs coming into this one 6th, of course. 2 points off Liverpool in 5th and Manchester United in 4th at the start of the day. And with a worse goal difference than both of those two. Clinton cutting in off the left, as she often likes to do as a right footer. She's threaded that through nicely. Chance! Over the bar from Martha Thomas. Knew with covering defenders closing in, she probably had to get the shot off early. Great work from Clinton, who burrows through and then threads the eye of a needle, really, to get that into Thomas. Really nice link play between two players who've been such valuable acquisitions for Spurs this season. Thomas hunting what could have been an 8th league goal this campaign. Kasparai. Free kick to Manchester City, who will be eyeing a second goal. This team under Gareth Taylor is very much inclined to not be sitting on a lead. It wouldn't be a very Manchester City thing to do. Kasparai. Now Kelly dropping deeper. It's the return ball. Now forward from Kelly, who was, of course, on target in midweek, as was Lauren Hemp in that win in the Manchester derby. Hemp all too quick to remind anyone on social media who wasn't sure. She said Manchester still, of course, is blue, for anyone wondering. That was on Hemp's Twitter. Manchester City into the quarter-finals in the Conti Cup, a competition they've got a lot of good history in. Of course, last won it a couple of seasons ago when beating Chelsea in the final, coming from behind. Kelly looking for the 1-2, just too much on it from Kasparai. Reminder, of course, that Manchester United have won 2-1 against Aston Villa. Nikita Paris with 2 goals. Rachel Daly got one back, but it wasn't enough. And Everton-Leicester, full-time whistle's just about to blow there. That's been a goal between Bristol City and West Ham as well. Remember, you can watch that one live on the FA Player right across the world. Slightly heavy touch from Grant takes it out of play. Bunny Shaw dropping deep, linking the play really nicely. That is exactly what you want from your centre forward against a high press. Angled Dahl. Kelly, so dangerous when in full flow like this. Little ball inside, wasn't quite where Kelly wanted it, but you can see the combination and the intent. Now Alexandru strides forward with confidence. Inside to Kelly, helps it on. Lovely move this from City. Angled Dahl, what's at the end of it? Kelly again, deflected. Tikova can't stop the corner. Midway point of the first half. Manchester City dominant so far. They've got the goal. Certainly had a lot more of the play. Barbara Votikova hasn't necessarily had to make any particularly exceptional saves apart from the goal, but there's been a consistent, steady Manchester City pressure, which continues here with this corner. Cross put in. Will come back for Hasegawa, who's content to recycle. Greenwood's angle ball. Cleared in the nick of time by Evelina Suominen. In Robert Villahammon's very tactically flexible systems, ended up at centre-back against West Ham in Spurs' 4-3 win against them last weekend in the WSL, when Jessica Naz's winner made the difference. Grace Clinton with a brace, Celine Bizet also on target. Lisa Shimizu, Viviane Asai and Amber Tiziak all on target for the Hammers in what was an epic London derby. Half an interception on it, but I say only half because it's an immediate concession of possession. Manchester City with the ball again, as has been the modus operandi of this first half. Bunny Shaw dropping deep. They are a very difficult team to get the ball off. Well, Gareth Taylor said that thought this would be a tough game for his side, that Spurs are improving under a new coach, and interesting quote, said they're starting to become a different kind of proposition under Robert Villahamon. Right now, Manchester City will be very pleased with this start, which might be about to get even better. Kelly. Kelly inside, missed by Coombs, who almost got a second bite at the cherry, and then smashed over on the follow-up by Leila Wahabi. Leila Wahabi looking for something of a rare goal, the former Barcelona defender. Wahabi, who has yet to score for Manchester City, nor is her fellow fullback, Kirsten Kasparai. Coombs. All the way back with Keating. Greenwood forward to Coombs. Two teammates both at club and international level as well. Laura Coombs forcing her way into Serena Figman's setup with the Lionesses, having had a time where she'd quite openly feared her international career might be done. Hasegawa. Alexandru. Neat work to find Kasparai. Kelly. Shimmying, threatening as always. Angled Dahl trying to make the most of her opportunity to get a start today, having come in for Gilles Rod's spot in the team with Rod out injured. Hooked only half clear by Bartrip. Angled Dahl once more. Kasparai on the underlap. A very tactically flexible team, Manchester City. As Alexandru's lost it in a bad area, Thomas helps it on for England. And the counter-attack is quickly snuffed out. It's a combination to watch out for. It's only fused newly this season. Robert Villahamon's 4-2-3-1, seeing often England tend to drop slightly the deeper of the two to feed Thomas, but very interchangeable. Here goes Hemp. Cross blocked. Coombs. Hemp once more. He has a great record against Manchester City. Got a goal and 2 assists in that 7-0 win against them in the reverse fixture. He scored 6 against Spurs in the WSL in her career for City. That is cross blocked. Neil then fighting to keep it in and does well. Then ends up hammering it out of touch. Wahabi. Manchester City chasing a 7th straight win in a row on the pitch. Plenty going on off the pitch for them as well. Plans recently submitted for a purpose-built training facility, which is set to be done by 2025. Managing Director Charlotte O'Neill telling BBC Radio Manchester, "We were pioneers in provision for female athletes, but as things evolve and levels increase, we must respond to that. We never want to be in a situation of outgrowing our facility." Also said winning the WSL is one of our ambitions, but said that there is no immediate pressure on Gareth Taylor. Of course, Manchester City had a somewhat disappointing campaign last season, finishing 4th and missing out on Champions League qualification. Alexandri. Gets the return ball. Alexandri, who's settling into second full season at Manchester City after signing from Atletico Madrid. Taylor describes her as almost like a captain without being named one. Kasparai. For Kelly. He's hustled off it. That's good work in there from Grace Clinton, to the justifiable excitement of the home fans. Neil Den. Clinton. Played their way out nicely there. Sumanen. Almost. You could see exactly what she was trying to do. And still there for Spurs to build something here. England. Lovely, beautifully constructed move this. Is there something at the end of it? It's Martha Thomas! And it's 1-1! Spurs brought back from their jubilation. Thomas offside, and it won't stand. It did look like she might not have necessarily timed her run as she'd like. The flag did take a little while to go up, which had Spurs fans hopeful that it had counted. But promising signs though for Spurs. That's by a long way the most confident spell of possession that they've had in the match. Just in the way they were zipping the ball around. And they can take a lot of confidence and belief from that. Spurs desperate to show how much they've improved since a couple of months ago and that 7-0 drubbing, but that game really isn't in keeping with the story of their season overall, where they've had an excellent campaign, by a long way the most improved team in the English women's top division. I don't think anyone would reasonably doubt that. They've doubled their points tally from last season in the first half of this campaign. Tikova for Bartra. Of course, the highlight for Spurs was that 1-0 win against Arsenal in the North London derby, where Martha Thomas scored the winner back on the 16th of December. Started a run of 4 straight wins across all competitions. They beat Sheffield United in the Conti Cup, in the FA Cup, I beg your pardon, then won 4-3 at West Ham last weekend and 3-0 at Southampton in midweek. Ball looking for the run in behind. Was there a foul? Nothing given, to the frustration of Thomas. That's a really good challenge from Clinton. Oh! Referee didn't think so. I thought she had just managed to hook the ball round. Spurs might have been a touch unlucky there, and I say that as someone who's completely neutral in the commentary box, of course. It's a game of opinions, and the referee's job is something of a thankless and difficult one. Hasegawa. Spurs get the throw. Sumanen dropping deep to link the play in combination with Neil Dem on her first WSL start. Amanda Neil Dem. Indeed, her first opportunity to try and test herself against the likes of Chloe Kelly and Lauren Hemp. As a fullback, that is a heck of a task. Khadija Bunny-Shaw spins and turns and, my goodness me, creates problems at will. Kelly. Inside for Shaw. Just didn't quite get it right that time. Not often you say that when Khadija Bunny-Shaw is playing, particularly against Spurs. She's got 9 goals in 5 against them. Back-to-back hat-tricks in her last 2 meetings before this one. And 8 goals in her last 3 games against Spurs. It is quite ridiculous. Thanks to @MCW Stato, the Manchester City women's statistician. I can tell you as well that she scored against them as much as against anybody else. She scored 9 against them. Also managed that figure against Bristol City and Everton. Angle Dahl looking for it off Alessandri there, who slightly overran it in the end, going outside rather than inside. Spurs just starting to find a foothold in the contest. Starting to grow in confidence a little bit, the home side. Bartrip, such a key figure at the back for Tottenham Hotspur. Clinton just fouled by Hasegawa. Didn't look to be a huge amount in it, but maybe just a slight shove in the back from Hasegawa, and Clinton made sure to get the free kick. Clinton just bundled off it. Grace Clinton, who had a loan spell at Bristol City last season after developing at Everton before Manchester United had signed her. Manchester United have said that they want to use her in the long term, but Spurs very happy to have her right now. Back with Vortikova. Nervous moments, but then a lovely Cruyff turn to get away from the initial press by Coombs. And wins Spurs the free kick eventually. Molly Bartrip at her best. I'm sure that one will be getting the odd replay or two. Very impressive ball playing centre half, Molly Bartrip, and very impressive figure off the pitch as well. Quite inspirational to many with how she's spoken about her mental health issues and having anorexia nervosa as a teenager. Talked about the disease and the voice inside her head very openly, and also spoke about it on the N17 Women's podcast last season, an episode well worth a listen to, talking about all things football and life. Bartrip, a key figure at the heart of the Spurs defence. On the ball once more. Bartrip, of course, at Reading for a long time before signing for Spurs, but was actually at Spurs as a youth player, as a 10-year-old once upon a time, so it was a bit full circle when she came back. Here's Neil Den. Now England on for Thomas, who will strive to get there. And Alexandri will just about see it out for a goal kick. This game being played at quite the tempo. Neither side in the mood to take a backward step. Manchester City full of goals, of course. Since their 1-0 loss at Brighton in mid-November, Manchester City have scored 21 goals in 5 games, an average of just over 4 a game. Well, one back. And then slipped in behind, looking for England off the boot of Olga Attinen. And Kelly. Kasparai. Sent forward under pressure by Keating. Well won by Bartrip. Now Clinton. Sumanen. Spurs are really growing into this contest. Won a game by Sumanen. Chance to shoot. And over the bar, but more promising signs for Spurs. Celine Bizet decided she was going to try her luck. She scored an absolute pearler against Manchester City away from home last season. It's chipped in with 3 goals already across this campaign, the Norwegian winger. Has 5 goals in 15 caps for her country. Often a key part of Spurs' set-piece routines. She's the daughter of Norwegian footballer Birgitte Ilduse as well. Clinton. Angodal. Angodal still charging through. Might just go it all herself here. Instead lays it off to Hemp. Just took a second to decide whether to cross or shoot. Instead checks back. Gets the return off Wahabi. Hemp. Gets the 1-2. Hemp in behind. Towards that far post. And out for a corner. Nervous moments for Spurs. And that was classic Lauren Hemp as well. One thing to watch for with Hemp is she'll stop and get the defender to stop as well and be completely static and then restart. She's one of the very best at that particular skill in women's football. It makes her so difficult to stop for defenders. Kelly drives the corner in. Hasegawa. Greenwood. Ticked on by Kasparai. Now Wahabi. Heads all the way through for a Spurs goal kick. 4.5 minutes plus stoppages to go of what's been an eventful first half. A moment to mention scores from elsewhere. If you don't want to know, then probably a time to mute your audio for 30 seconds. But Manchester United have won 2-1 against Aston Villa. Keita Paris with a first half double. Rachel Daly scored. And then Leicester City have got themselves a much needed win. They've beaten Everton for the 2nd time this week, having beaten them in Conti Cup action in midweek. Janice Cayman, the summer signing from Lyon, assisted by Jutta Rantola 8 minutes after half-time, has given them victory in that one. And West Ham are 1-0 up against Bristol City in a game going on at the same time as ours. Hanoka Hayashi with an early goal there. Liverpool versus Arsenal to come later on. Alexandri. Kasparai. Well won by Neil Den, who's had a very tidy first WSL start thus far. Hemp. Goes round the outside. Hemp's cross towards Bunny Shaw, who heads it straight at Votikova. It does seem to be a near certainty that Khadija Bunny Shaw scores when she plays Spurs. But she didn't quite get a goal there. Shaw, who already has 9 in her 5 games against Tottenham. Got a first-half hat-trick against them a couple of months back, and it's been part of a stellar campaign for her. 12 goals in 10 in the league so far, 13 in 13 across all competitions. As Manchester City fans, and indeed some of the players, like to say, feed the bun. Feed the bun and she will score, and she certainly has been doing that plenty for Manchester City. She's 4 off Georgia Stanway's all-time Manchester City goal-scoring club record. That stat from that MCW Stato. Keeps a track of all things like this surrounding the team from the blue side of Manchester. And it's Alessandro. Had about 70% possession in this first half, our live stats tracker has told me. Tottenham have offered a bit of a threat on the break though, and they've got better as the half has gone on, but Manchester City want to make it 2-0 before half-time. Hemp has got him behind here. It's Lauren Hemp. Votikova unconvincing. Spurs do just enough. Such a danger, such a threat, Lauren Hemp. Such a joy to watch in full flight. Unless you're the person who's being charged with stopping her, in which case, good luck. Sumanen. Bar trip. Clinton. Oh, what a lovely move this is from Spurs. Cross from Amanda Nielden. Had too much on it for Thomas. Bizet was arriving at the far post. Have grown into the contest though here, Spurs. They've certainly, as everyone expected, shown that they're going to give Manchester City a much tougher test than that day where it all went wrong. It's very much the philosophy of Robert Villahamon that they still keep going for it, playing out from the back. And that was part of what caused them to end up conceding 7, whereas other teams, once those goals started going in, would have tried to be a little bit more conservative. Certainly a very entertaining approach that Villahamon's had Spurs playing with this season, and it's brought them good success, but that's a clear foul on Khadija Bunny Shaw. Minimum of 2 minutes added on at the back end of this first half. Hopefully nothing too serious for the Jamaican. You Manchester City fans will be all too delighted signed a contract extension in the summer when she wasn't busy being instrumental in Jamaica's Women's World Cup run. Named in the top 20 best players of the tournament. Yellow card there for Evelina Sumanen for that challenge on Khadija Bunny Shaw. She can't have too many complaints. Manchester City with a little bit of time to try and grab a second. Manchester City looking to continue their winning streak, but Spurs have started to get a bit of joy against them on the press in the latter part of this second half, latter part of this first half. Hemp. Cutting inside. It's a great challenge though to stop her from Bizet. Manchester City reset and look to build again. Hotspur. Half-time here, and Manchester City have the lead thanks to that early own goal from Amy Turner. But it has been a fascinating tactical contest between two informed sides. Spurs holding their own and finding a foothold the longer the half has gone on. Martha Thomas had a goal disallowed on the half-hour mark. And Manchester City with more of the pressure and possession without necessarily maybe testing Barbara Votikova quite as much as they would have liked. An intriguing contest reaches the halfway mark. At the break, it's Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 1. Let's take a look back at the first half highlights. Alex Greenwood forcing an excellent save from Barbara Votikova. So you can see again, that was the free kick from Greenwood that Votikova had to keep out. Votikova at her excellent best. Has been a very handy summer signing from Paris Saint-Germain for Spurs. This was Hem stopping and starting again and then putting the cross in that came off the chest of Turner. He got herself in a little bit of a muddle. Manchester City all too happy to accept the gift, and then that was the pass back from Bartrip. She was looking to play it to Turner and left it short rather than necessarily to Votikova, but you can also completely understand why the Manchester City players appealed. Referee Melissa Burgeon decided it was not an indirect free kick. And then Grace Clinton was trying to link the players. She can do so brilliantly. This was her best example of that in the first half, threading it through for Thomas, who smashed over on her left foot. Thomas chasing what would have been an 8th league goal this season since joining from Manchester United. And Chloe Kelly set up Coombs, who couldn't quite get a clean shot away. Smashed over by Leila Wahabi, chasing what would have been her first Manchester City goal since signing in 2022 from Barcelona. And this was the disallowed goal. Martha Thomas not deemed to have quite timed her run right. Kiara Keating made the save, but didn't make the save with quite enough power to tip it round the post, but it didn't matter. It didn't count. Thomas denied. Spurs left frustrated. But Spurs grew in confidence as the game went on. Evelina Sumanen showing all of her fight in midfield to win it back there before it was whacked over the bar by Celine Bizet, who scored an excellent goal against Manchester City last season and is trying to repeat it there. So at the break, the own goal, Manchester City's 200th WSL away goal in their history. And one milestone brought up. I hope the bigger milestone, the more important one of 3 points, will be secured. See if they can do it in the second half to come soon. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 1 at the break.
I think the greatest women's player of all time is Marta from Brazil.
Aitana Bomati. I always played her against under 19, so I know her for a long time.
Kelly Smith and Kim Little.
Kira Walsh. I think she's the best technical player and passer of the ball I've seen, and I think she pulls strings and she is ultimately determines a lot of the team's successes that she plays in.
Probably Barca kit. I had like that turquoise away one, that was cool.
I like the black kit from Arsenal last year.
It's got to be the Bristol City kit.
I have to say I'm a fan of black kit, so in my hometown club, like when I was young, I played in all black. I like that one.
I love a Nike Tiempo. I think they're comfy, I think they're reliable, I think they're sturdy, and I think they make me as quick as I possibly can be.
Puma boots, of course. I'm a fan of white boots, so I hope they do white color soon.
The greatest boots I've ever worn are the Adizero F50, purple and like a orange little part, yeah, like purple orange.
The Nike, the old ones. Oh, do you know which I mean? Yes, total 90s. Okay, wait.
Particular colour?
Yeah, red.
I quite like Frank Ocean because of the vibes. I think he's a calm artist, but he can quite versatile.
One Direction
Coldplay for me.
Tina Turner.
and Oasis. I'm going to say Louise Quinn at Birmingham, Christy Murray, who's also at Birmingham, and currently Vicky Lozada.
I can say a lot. Viv, Viviane Minima, Kim Little, a lot. The whole team.
Really Hannah Hampton.
I want to say defender there, Wendy Renard. When I played with her at Lyon, it was really hard to get past her, and I think she's a really, really good player. Camp Nou in Barcelona, when we played there like 2 seasons ago, it was sold out and the atmosphere was amazing, even though the game wasn't going our way, but the stadium was great.
Ashton Gate.
White Hart Lane, the Tottenham Stadium, I think is incredible.
Emirates, of course, yeah.
Probably travelling around New Zealand for a month. I think I got to see a lot there and experience a new culture, and I love that.
Spain, or no, to Greece actually.
Mauritius and the Greek islands.
Ooh, I've been to Mexico last year and that was amazing.
I really like Shawshank Redemption. That's a good one, I think.
If I had to pick one, I would say it's Dirty Dancing, just because I can watch that over and over again.
The Pursuit of Happiness.
Messi. He's just the best, and up to date, he's still the best, so I think he's up there.
Andres Iniesta, which is my favourite player.
I think Usain Bolt, just for his pure athleticism.
Serena Williams is really a role model for female athletes in every sport, and that's why I would pick her.
Breaking Bad. I've watched it about 5 times.
I like Grey's Anatomy.
How to Get Away with Murder.
If you cut corners, you lose the edge.
Be happy every day.
I think the quote that resonates most with me is daring greatly.
Okay, I have one I translate from German. Shared joy is double joy and shared pain is only half of the pain. That was a quote my dad said to me a long time ago, but it really stuck with me.
My pet rabbit, Peter Rabbit.
I think probably my first pair of football boots. I loved them and I wore them into the ground for about 4 years in a row, and that's kind of where my football journey started.
A dog? No, I didn't get one, but I want a dog.
Love? Maybe?
A steak in Greece. I had like a well-known restaurant in Greece, so that was good.
Sushi. Or curries. I like curries.
I travelled to Barcelona in the summer and I had a kind of 7-course taster menu in the streets of Barcelona. That was fantastic.
At the moment I really enjoy, it sounds boring, but salads, because it's hot outside and like really nice fresh salad with loads of ingredients, like colorful. I love it. Just because I love dark chocolate, anything with dark chocolate, like cookie with dark chocolate, or yeah, something like that.
The Tim Tams. Tried them recently and they're the best biscuit I've ever tried.
I like Milka or chocolate. Do you know them? Or Tony Chocoloni.
Probably a classic chocolate hobnob I'd go with.
Who is this guy? Educate yourself, please. Just
Talk to me about Marlon Williams. Have you been a big fan?
yes, I first seen him. He had a cameo role in A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
And that's when I first seen him, and I was like, who is this guy? He's got a voice like velvet.
Yeah.
Just amazing. But it has a mixture of songs. Sometimes a little bit country, sometimes a little bit bluesy, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a good mix. I love him.
And then next we got Black Keys, another great one. Talk me through that. Have you been a fan of them for a while?
Yeah, they've got so many albums, again, so many absolutely bangers that I feel like nobody knows. I'm like, have you ever heard of the Black Keys? They're like, nah. I'm like, educate yourself, please. Yeah, I don't want it, I'm going to allude to it, but like the next one, yeah. If you want, yeah.
There we go then, Move Alice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like her voice is just incredible.
Amazing.
Like I like her on the stage, like she just has you in the palm of her hand. It's just unbelievable. I seen her at Leeds Fest, so we seen like a good few other bands there, but like her voice, she was literally just sat so innocuous just on the end of the stage, just singing into this mic, and I was like, I want to be you. Rose is one of my favourite songs, like Don't Bleed the Kisses as well, just like, I don't know, just beautiful music.
Yeah. And are you someone that like, likes to sing along with it all? Do you
Oh
fancy
yeah,
yourself a bit of a
100%.
singer?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think so. Probably other people would tell me otherwise, but yeah, I love a sing song in the car, in the shower. at gigs, festivals, whatever. If it's a good song, good
You're not
music.
afraid to belt it out. Oh, I love that, I love that. And then next, someone a little bit different. I've got Green Tea Peng. Talk to me about her.
These are probably my most recent discovery,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's like you say, it's probably a bit of left of centre to like whatever I've been listening to, but again, I just like, it's art, so I'm like, it's not what I would usually like stick on, but it's and she's incredible, like they're so good.
Finishing off with the classic Arctic Monkeys. Have you been a fan of them since you were a kid?
Yes,
I was going to say.
As soon as like when I think of Arctic Monkeys, I just think like me as a young girl on the school bus, my little Walkman phone, like literally a Walkman, got my earphones plugged in. It was my brother. I've got an older brother who's like dead into music, taught himself guitar, and like they were his like first love type thing.
Yeah.
And he always came to me and was like, you need to listen to this band, you need to listen to this band. And I guess that's probably where my love for music came from, was inspired through him. So.
Have you ever seen them live?
Yeah, I've seen them live twice. Yeah.
When was that?
I seen them the very first time, I think it was 2018, so a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then I seen them again at Leeds Festival, just done a little set. Yeah, I didn't see their most recent tour, but unbelievable,
right?
Unreal, yeah.
And then out of these different artists, who would you play to like get Everton hyped up, ready to go on the pitch, would you say?
It would probably have to be Arctic Monkeys because they're the most known. Like if I was to stick a random one on that I like, people would be like, who is this? But they're like the most known, they're the most popular, everybody knows who they are. So yeah, they're more like the Black Keys. I feel like they've probably got the fastest, most upbeat songs. The other ones are a bit more chilled.
And then what about like, you've just won a game, you come back to the changing room, what are you playing to like celebrate to?
Queen. Yeah.
Classic.
Stick a little bow rap on, it's on for a good 3 minutes. Like, you've got your high bit, you've got your opera bit, you've got your low bit, it's got all of it.
What about that one? Do you know all the lyrics to that?
All of them?
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably my karaoke song,
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not an easy one either, so I respect that. And then lastly, now that you're an Evertonian, and you know, I am too, so we're just kidding. But we've also got one of the best songs, Spirit of the Blues.
Yes.
Talk to me about that. When you hear that, are you won over now with that song?
Honestly, like it is so catchy. Like you play a game and then like you could be after the game, you're just in your kitchen like making a cup of tea and you're just like honestly, you sing it, it's like so contagious. You start whistling it, somebody else is whistling it, somebody else is humming it, like
nothing better.
It is so good.
I might be very biased, but nothing better. In my opinion.
Welcome back to East London. 1-0 at half-time to Manchester City. Robert Villahammond's Spurs are back out for the second half, and Manchester City now heading out as well. City in their black and red change kit will attack from right to left as we look at things in the second period. Spurs to kick from left to right. Remember, Manchester City looking to reclose that gap on Chelsea, who won yesterday. Spurs hunting a win to chase Manchester United, who are fourth. So as things stand, Manchester City will cut that gap back to 3 points if they can turn this half-time lead into a victory. Spurs starting to down 18 points from 11. Manchester United and Liverpool on the same figures. Liverpool play later against Arsenal. Manchester United have won 2-1 against Aston Villa. Were Spurs to get a win from this one, they would be alongside Manchester United, but behind them on goal difference. They're 5 goals worse off than Liverpool as well in that sort of upper mid-table bunch, if you will. Certainly a massive improvement from last season. You can see Beth England, who I know speaking to a few in the Spurs camp, they describe as something of an on-field manager. And you're definitely witnessing a bit of that there. England, one of those that will do a lot of talking in the huddle. Such an inspirational signing, joined in the middle of last season and didn't quite single-handedly keep them up. That would be a little bit harsh on others who certainly played their part, but talismanic stuff. 12 goals in 12 games. It doesn't really get too much better than that after joining from Chelsea for that record fee for coming between 2 WSL clubs. Record fee at the time. Euros winner as well and represented her country at the World Cup last year. A little bit of a false start on the second half kickoff. Now off and underway. Both these sides looking to keep their winning runs going. Manchester City better placed to do so as Kelly crosses. And smash goalwards, but wide. Could have been a goal with, I'll make it about 17 seconds on the clock in the second half. Nervous moments for Spurs. And now coming forward in a much more assured fashion. Martha Thomas chasing in the channels as she loves to do and then cutting inside. Trying to twist outside again. That particular battle is won by City. Manchester City, we're looking to make it 7 straight wins in all competitions. Going back to the Conti Cup game on the 22nd of November when they drew 2-2 in normal time with Leicester City before losing on penalties. And of course, beat Manchester United in that same competition in midweek. They've already won twice against their big rivals so far this season. They beat them 3-1 in the league away from home in mid-November, and they meet them in the derby when they'll have home advantage in late March. Space for Grant. Linking up with Bizet, who's forced back. Good foot in there to win it from Hemp. Good pressing as a team collectively from Manchester City. Coombs releases Hemp. Real danger here. Lovely flighted ball from Wahhabi towards Khadija Bani Shaw. Well defended by Molly Bartrip. Easier said than done. Trying to stop Khadija Bani Shaw in an aerial duel. What a player she is. Yash, one of the very best women's football analysts on the circuit, who can be found on Twitter on @Odriozo described her as a very clinical forward with a knack for disrupting lines and winning fouls. Her movements and aerial ability make her a threat from every situation. Produced an extensive pack of details on what she can offer, the highlight of which was 1.23 non-penalty goals per 90 minutes. That's an extraordinary number. Here's Hemp. Hemp trying to provide Shaw with some service, couldn't quite do so. Cleared away by Neil Den. Manchester City hunting a second goal to make this lead just a bit more comfortable. And finish off January with another win, make it 4 from 4 for the month. For the head into February that brings Leicester City home in the league, and then Arsenal away in the FA Cup, Chelsea away in the league. Around the corner from Clinton. Good work by Hasegawa. Such an impressive, tidy playmaker and all-round footballer at the base of Manchester City's midfield. Signed from West Ham after ironically putting on something of a masterclass in one of her games for the Hammers against Manchester City. Sent forward off the head of Alexandri. Beth England's chasing. Haven't seen too much of England in the contest so far, but she is one of those kind of players that can pop up with a moment of magic. Spurs haven't had a lot of the ball, and they haven't necessarily got as much service as they might like. Tikova. It's been a valuable addition for Spurs this campaign. Made her WSL debut in the North London derby and kept a clean sheet. That's a pretty good way to start life when you're playing for Spurs. Czech international, previously of Slavia Praha and PSG. Here's Hemp, given away carelessly by Spurs. Sliding challenge from Summanen. That is a high-risk, high-tariff option against Lauren Hemp, but it's worked. Nice stuff from the flying Finn. Now Spurs can build through Amanda Nielden, who's looked right at home in her first WSL start. Spurs get the free kick. Nielden on loan from Juventus, where she'd made 9 appearances in the Italian top flight so far this season, chipping in with a goal. Played the first half of the 3-0 Conti Cup win against Southampton in midweek. And now gets her first taste of life in English Women's League football in her second stint, of course. She played for Brighton before joining Juventus, the Italian giants. She had a spell at Eskilstuna United in the Damallsvenskan as well after playing for Brighton, and described her time with Brighton as formative in her development. Nicked off Kelly. Little ball through the lines, was looking for Thomas, but instead it's come to Hemp, who's charging forward, has Shaw on her outside. It's Khadija Bunny Shaw who scores against Spurs yet again. Her 10th goal against Spurs in 6 games against the North London club. Scored a hat-trick in the first half against them in the reverse fixture 2 months ago. And almost inevitably, she strikes against them once more. A thunderbolt. Beautifully weighted pass from Lauren Hemp. What else did you expect? And Votikova, who, like a lot of keepers in that situation, is thinking about the ball being struck across her into the far corner, is instead left as something of a statue. And Shaw smashes it near post. What a finish, what a goal, what a player. Khadija Bunny Shaw's 14th goal across all competitions this campaign, her 13th in the WSL, and she marks her 50th WSL appearance for Manchester City across her impressive time on the Blues side of Manchester, with a 42nd goal. Extraordinary numbers from an extraordinary player, who, just to throw one more in, is now 3 short of Manchester City's all-time goal-scoring record, held by Georgia Stanway, who is now, of course, into her 2nd season in life at Bayern Munich, so won't be adding to that tally anytime soon. Thank you to @MCW Stato for some of those numbers around the excellence of Khadija Bunny Shaw. And it's that combination as well of Hemp and Kelly that has hurt Spurs once more. Of course, it's hurt so many other teams in this league too. They can console themselves with the fact that they're by no means alone. Now this really will be a test for Spurs. 2-0 down against a team of Manchester City's quality. They are a new look, improved outfit under Robert Villahamon. Manchester City pushing for a third though, in towards Coombs. It almost dropped for Shaw as well. Manchester City are really sniffing a chance to put this game all but to bed. Spurs just trying to hang in there. Easier said than done. Has been a goal elsewhere. Amelie Grombig-Testrup has just scored for Bristol City to make it 1-1 against West Ham in that key relegation 6-pointer. Manchester City looking for a third. Not the best corner in truth. Straight to Celine Bizet, and suddenly here comes Spurs on the break. Grace Clinton. Great challenge from Hasegawa. Manchester City have the throw. Also going to be fascinating to see the way both managers' uses of their bench affect this contest. Of course, with football since coronavirus moving to 5 substitutes becoming the norm, it certainly allowed for a greater deal of tactical flexibility. As Kelly looks to get in there. Neil Den did well. Whipped first time cross, headed away by Bartrip. Now Thomas has to be wary with Hasegawa. Nipping at her, Hasegawa nearly won it back. Bizet spreads it wide. And one back by Kelly. 10 minutes into the second half, Manchester City doubling, beg your pardon, their lead through Khadija Bunny Shaw. Speaking of the benches, no shortage of options, of course. Manchester City with 4 defenders in Demi Stokes, Steph Horton, Ruby Mason and Lana Kennedy. Also got Esme Morgan as well, in fact 5, beg your pardon. And then they have, in a more aggressive sense, going forward, Mary Fowler and Jess Park. And Sandy McKeever, the backup keeper for Spurs. They've got plenty of attacking options to try and turn this game in their favour. Only Brazil, Ramona Petzelberger, Kit Graham, Shuang Wang, Rosella Ryan, all in that sense could be useful. Luana Bula, the centre half, is back on the bench as well for the first time since her injury in the North London derby before Christmas. There is also Jess Naz, who got that late winner against West Ham. She's often the first to come on for Spurs under Robert Villahamon. Helped forward, now Clinton playing touchline tango. Not quite able to keep it alive. Keating with time to ponder. Goes short to Alexandri. Shaw. Hasegawa. So confident and impressive with the ball at her feet, Yuri Hasegawa, as is Alex Greenwood, who spreads out one of her classic passes for Hemp. Key axis down the Manchester City left. No foul there from Charlie Grant, who did briefly win it back. Now Hemp again, such a clever touch from Lauren Hemp. That's her at her best. Hemp's cross was looking for Shaw. And then Hemp again. Hemp's ball in. Nervous moments for Spurs. Hasegawa. Manchester City fancying their chances of a third. Shaw couldn't quite shoot on the turn. Manchester City keeping the pressure right on. City are much improved from last season when missed out on the top 3 by goal difference in what was seen as something of a transitional campaign after a lot of departures and incomings in the summer of 2023. They were in the top 3 for only 7 weeks across the campaign. Didn't beat any of the other so-called big 4 in the season. It's been a different story this time around. Ball clipped in. Was looking for Coombs. Spurs with injury delay, briefly. I hope that's nothing too serious for Charlie Grant, who was covering at the back post. Seemed to have just hurt something there. And comes the corner. Nodded wide. Mentioned Manchester City improving since last season. My goodness me, Spurs have improved as well under Robert Villahamon. Appointed in summer of 2023, having previously managed BK Häcken in the Damallsvenskan, the Swedish top flight, left them top of the table after qualifying for the Champions League in the previous season. I say left them top of the table because the Swedish season operates on a calendar year basis, so the summer is very much in the middle of the actual season itself. Villahamon, who has already built a very good reputation in North London as a player's coach, seen as very approachable. He's put his stamp on the team with various signings, including, unsurprisingly, using his knowledge of Scandinavian football to good effect. The likes of Olga Attinen and Amanda Nielden joining. Attinen has been busy in central midfield today, but Manchester City are pressing for a third. Hemp. And Godal. Just too much on it for Hasegawa. Greenwood in there fighting for it. Managing to win the free kick in the duel against Clinton. Manchester City with the momentum now, no doubt. Want to convert that into a third goal to make the rest of this game just slightly more comfortable for them. Hemp. Hemp's cross towards Shaw, who takes it down brilliantly, almost shot. It was good, desperate defence just in time. Greenwood. Spurs sat somewhat deep, just trying to withstand Manchester City right now. Kelly. Kelly inside, playing advantage from the foul. Hasegawa up against Sumanen. He's eyeing the crossfield ball. Thought better of it. Hotspur. Inside for Alexandri. Greenwood forward. Lovely ball in between the lines for Coombs. Now Kelly. Kelly drifting inside. Goes down. Referee uninterested, and then it's hit the referee, which means that Spurs will get the ball back. Tottenham left a bit frustrated that Melissa Bergen inadvertently got in the way. They were hoping to build a promising counter-attack there. Will be a change for Spurs. Martha Thomas set to come off. And Wang Shuang to come on. Grace Clinton is coming off as well, and Jess Naz is coming on. I mentioned that Jess Naz almost, as a matter of routine, certainly very often has been the first player to come on under Robert Villahamon. And that trend somewhat continues here. Comes on as part of a double change. Neil didn't. Villahamon known for being very proactive in using his bench to try and change the shape of a contest. He's clearly seen, I suppose, 2-0 down. Manchester City very much on the front foot, and it's felt like he's got to do something different here. Chance for Wang Shuang to make an impact. Only recently acquired from playing in the NWSL for Racing Louisville. He's previously been with Paris Saint-Germain as well. She gets her first opportunity in the WSL, her Spurs league debut, to try and help bring them back into this. That's nearly 150 caps for China. He was the only Chinese player to score at the 2023 Women's World Cup. So Spurs have made a double change. It is often the way that it can be a little bit of a game of chess, coaches, with their substitutions. One waits for the other and then responds in turn. So don't be surprised if Manchester City make a change or two very shortly. Angel Dahl in a tussle for the ball that she loses out on against Sumanen. And now Wang Shuang has her first touches on her Spurs debut. Naz is caught offside. She's the kind of player with her pacing behind Jess Naz, who is often playing right on that line. She's been much improved this campaign under Robert Villahamon. Naz, once upon a time at Arsenal, was a youth player, dangerous, speedy winger, who's very good at leading a high press for Spurs as well, defending from the front. He's chipped in with 3 goals this season, including that 76th minute winner against West Ham United last weekend to get Spurs that 4-3 win in one of their London derbies. Confirmation of those changes on the top left corner of your screen. Will be interesting to see whether that's a change of shape and formation from Robert Villahamon. I'd expect that Beth England will push forward more from a number 10 role into more of a traditional number 9, leading the line, with Wang Shuang dropping in behind, and then it looks like Jess Naz has gone out to replace Grace Clinton on the left wing. A direct swap in terms of the system, but a very different type of player. Clinton will always look to cut in onto her preferred right foot. Naz is more of an out-and-out, somewhat old-school winger. Love to run at players rather than be inverted and cut inside. Inside from Grant. Forward by Attanen. Naz. Clever ball from Jess Naz. Finds Celine Bizet. Bizet's still going. Bizet's cross. All dealt with by Manchester City. And now Chloe Kelly sends it forward. Bartrup's header. Spurs can look to build. They've had relatively little of the ball in this game and have offered sporadic threats on the counter-attack, but that's a really tame concession of it there. Chloe Kelly trying to get forward. Fouled by Sumanen, who is on a yellow card, which she picked up in first half stoppage time. Looks like it will be a talking to from referee Melissa Burgeon without a second yellow. It is something that you do see often, an extended conversation from a referee to a player who's already on a yellow card and then has just committed another foul. The Finn will have to be careful. Evelina Sumanen, who's such a vital ball-playing midfielder. It's an interesting one as well. So he's got a strong partnership with her international and now club teammate Olga Attanen, and one skill they've got, well, not so much a skill but a quirk of the situation, is they both speak Finnish, the two central midfielders of course, and so they can actually communicate fluently in Finnish on the pitch with no real opposition players that they tend to come up against in the Barclays Women's Super League when playing for Spurs, or indeed in other domestic cup competitions, having quite a Scooby of what they're talking about. which is pretty handy for the two of them. They formed, unsurprisingly, an excellent partnership in the middle for Spurs this season. Flicked round the corner by England, was looking for BZ. Now it's fallen for Charlie Grant. Past the midway point of this second half. Can Spurs get one back to set up a tense finish? Wang Shuang was wanting the ball down the line from Neil Den. Spurs playing in their third game in a week or so. Same can be said for Manchester City. Both these sides winning in the WSL last Sunday and then having cup success in midweek. Plenty going on in February for Spurs. Liverpool away on the 4th of February in the league, and then Charlton Athletic, current pace setters in the Championship, at home in the FA Cup 6 days later. And then Spurs at home against Aston Villa before the international break on the 18th of February. And the small matter of a North London derby comes on the 3rd of March. I say small matter in the most sarcastic way possible, of course, as Khadija Bunny-Shaw has a wrestling match with Olga Aktinen, who is determined to use fair means or foul to stop her. And the Finn picks up an entirely deserved yellow card. Classic Khadija Bunny-Shaw in terms of what she offers to her side. So much more than just scoring goals. Confirmation there of that yellow card for Olga Aktinen. Could be the right foot in swinging of Chloe Kelly, or the left foot out swinging of Greenwood. Greenwood's gone to disrupt the wall, so it will be Kelly. Goes short, and then Hasegawa with the switch. Training ground move was clearly meant for Coombs. A little bit too much on it, but it has ended up at the feet of the experienced lioness. And Kelly. Hasegawa. Energetic pressing from Wang Shuang. Now Hemp. Greenwood. Into the last 20 minutes. Is there to be a late twist here, or will Manchester City convert this lead into another valuable 3 points to reclose the gap on Chelsea? Of course, if Manchester City do that, Arsenal will have a chance to join them on that figure of 28 points, 3 behind Chelsea, when they play later on at Liverpool, who've been much improved this season. Remember, right now, can also get live WSL action elsewhere between Bristol City and West Ham, where West Ham have retaken lead. Viviana Say, who scored against Spurs last weekend, is on target again. Intelligent ball from Olga Aktinen. Neil Den caught in possession by Kelly. Real chance for Manchester City, and then Neil Den fouling Kelly. So good and so impressive, Chloe Kelly. That's often the only way defenders find to stop her. Hopefully nothing too serious for Kelly. He's just down clutching her left shoulder. Chloe Kelly, who set a new WSL record for chances created in a single season last time around. The most by any player across the Big 5 European leagues as well. That's the threat that she offers, and of course can score plenty of fine goals too. I remember watching her live for the first time at Walton Hall Park when playing for Everton against Bristol City in September 2019, when she scored 2 absolute worldies in about 5 minutes or so. And her form with Everton, of course, is what led to Manchester City signing her. Wang Shuang heads the free kick away. Spurs have dealt with the danger for now. Kasper Rai. Referee stops play for an injury in the box. Manchester City still yet to use their bench, though you can understand why, given the situation, Gareth Taylor's generally content enough with what he's seen so far. Spurs have still got 3 changes up their back pocket. Plenty of Manchester City fans have made the long trip south, hoping to see their side make it 7 wins in a row in all competitions. City who've had plenty going on and off the pitch. New director of football appointed in the summer in Nils Nielsen said that their priority was to keep hold of the world-class talent they've already got and then build on it after an extensive change of personnel. Came back in 2022. A real marquee signing they made in the summer was Gilles Roord, the experienced Dutch international, who's been in the WSL with Arsenal before, and she was oh so impressive for them across this campaign until unfortunately picking up that ACL injury in midweek against Manchester United, so they'll be without her on the pitch for the rest of the campaign. But City not exactly a team short of creativity and ball-playing ability. Indeed, they've got a galaxy of world-class talent. Evelina Suominen, thankfully okay after a spell of treatment, and now she can come back on to make it 11 against 11. Worth saying as well that although Gilles Roord was the marquee signing, they did have Ruby Mace, Julie Blackstad at Jess Park return from loan spells. Mace was very successful for Leicester City as they survived. Jess Park at Everton. Of course, Julie Blackstad has now since moved on in this January transfer window, as has Dana Castellanos. Shaw linking the play, scuffed forward. Now back to Votikova. Oh, got to be careful there. Shaw wins it back. It's Coombs. Couldn't quite get the shot away or the pass. Spurs living somewhat dangerously. They do like to play out from the back, but against the excellent high press of Manchester City, that's a risky option. So Spurs set to make another change. Ramona Petzelberger comes on. Petzelberger, who was not seen very much last season, but this season under Robert Villahammer has made a real impact. Has been a valuable player in his plans. Petzelberger signed from Aston Villa in 2022. Played for various clubs in Germany as well before playing for Villa in the WSL, and has scored for Spurs in this competition this season, and how they love another one here. Just to half the gap and maybe put a few nerves in the Manchester City camp. Instead, here comes City though. Hemp inside and forcing the corner. So difficult to stop in full flow, Lauren Hemp. What can Manchester City make of the set piece? Greenwood's corner, headed away by England. Hasegawa. Confirmation there of the substitution. Charlie Grant's WSL debut is over. Scored in midweek Conti Cup action for Spurs, and got her taste of league football here today for the first time in a starting capacity. She came on for a brief cameo in the West Ham game last weekend. Spurs looks like to me have gone to something of a back three, bit of a 3-4-3 now, with England flanked by Naz and Bizet. He is unafraid to go for it when he needs to, Robert Villahammer. Spurs do need to go for it. They haven't got much to lose. They've got plenty to gain. Turner. Atinen. Back to Votikova. who's in a fight for the #1 jersey with Becky Spencer. Spencer's played 11 games across all competitions this season for Spurs, Votikova 6. Votikova is steadily forced her way in after keeping that clean sheet against Arsenal in the North London derby. Becky Spencer, of course, had an excellent World Cup for Jamaica and has been at Spurs a lot longer, since 2019. Well, I mentioned how often you see one team respond to another team's changes. Manchester City doing that here, and using their highly impressive bench. It will be Mary Fowler and Jess Park to come on. That is two sights to scare the heck out of opposing defenders. With time running out, two of the very best young wide forwards around on to offer energy and skill in abundance for Gareth Taylor's side. Back with Votikova. Under pressure goes a touch more direct. Spurs get the throw. Naz trying to burst through. Wahabi had to be very careful there. Almost into the last 10 minutes. It might be 2-0, but Spurs still fighting to try and work their way back into the contest. Petzelberger seems to have slotted in into something of a right wing-back role. Robert Villahamon does like his players to be very tactically flexible. We've seen that this season, as England helps it on. England once more. Suominen. Switch crossfield to Neil Den. He's fouled by Kasparai. Spurs with two changes still up their sleeve if they wish to use them. They've already brought on Naz, Wang Shuang and Petzelberger, and here goes Wang Shuang setting Naz free, the two subs combining, and over the bar from Jessica Naz. The angle was not ideal, and the angle was only getting harder and harder, so rightly decided that she had to try and shoot early. Unable to test Kiara Keating though. Nice distribution from Keating. Park. So good in tight spaces, manages to keep it there. Greenwood. Forward looking for the ever dangerous Hemp. We'll play in a slightly different way with Khadija Bunny-Shaw off now, and Laura Coombs making way for Mary Fowler and Jess Park. Won't have that focal point of the attack that Shaw provides in such an impressive way. Shaw becoming the first player for Manchester City to hit double figures of goals against an individual opponent. Now has 10 against Spurs. Really has been a scourge of them. 10 in just 5 games as well, including a couple of hat-tricks. She has an extraordinary ability to keep picking up match balls almost at will, Khadija Bunny-Shaw. Wahabi. Manchester City desperate to ensure there certainly won't be a late twist here. Chasing what would be a first WSL title since way back in 2016. Since then, they've so often found themselves finishing second. Last season came fourth, of course. So that's played forward, and Fowler's managed to get onto it. Spurs survive. Mary Fowler almost waltzing her way through. Fowler signed from French side Montpellier back in 2022. Gareth Taylor said more recently, we're starting to see the player we all thought we'd see. Having taken time to work her way into life in Manchester. Made her Australian international debut as a 15-year-old back 6 years ago. Was a key part of the Matildas World Cup run. The Matildas effect, as they now call it over in Australia, with the impact that's made on women's sport and culturally. Fowler scoring as well in the game against Canada. And it's Wang Shuang. Nicely constructed move this from Spurs. Here's Naz inside for Wang Shuang, who tries to help it on and does get it through to England. It's Beth England for Spurs. And Kiara Keaton can make the save. More encouraging signs though for Tottenham Hotspur here. Certainly making life awkward for Manchester City. Nicely threaded ball through from Wang Shuang on her debut in the WSL for Tottenham Hotspur. Showing the kind of skills that she can offer. 28-year-old who has 23 goals in 146 caps for China PR. Played against her Spurs teammate Beth England in the group stages for China PR when they met the Lionesses. Confirmation again of those substitutions. Khadija Bunny Shaw replaced by Mary Fowler, and Laura Coombs making way for Jess Park. Looks to me to have been a slight change in shape from Manchester City as a result. Forward by Greenwood. It's fallen to Park. That's always dangerous for an opposing defence. What lovely feet from Jess Park, and still going. And then Park shoots. And Jess Park thinks that's got a nick on it, and referee Burgeon agrees. That was Jess Park at her quite brilliant best. I do remember commentating on her getting 4 assists in a must-win Conti Cup game for Manchester City against Leicester City, and it was on a cold midweek night. And that was the kind of performance that I know turned the heads of quite a few people, both inside and outside of the Manchester City setup, about what a serious talent she is. Has since then gone and had that impressive loan spell at Everton. Scored 79 seconds into her Lionesses debut as well in November 2022. And a 4-0 win against Japan. Fowler. Three minutes or so plus stoppages to go. Spurs need to get on the ball and they need to make something happen. Instead, Keating forward. Neil Den's touch. Attinen. Bizet forced back, but then fouled. It's worth noting how much has changed for Spurs. It's almost 2 months ago to the day since that 7-0 loss, but worth noting that 2 of the players who started in that game have since left the club on loan. That's Lin Yan and Asmita Ale. And then 2 of the players who came on in that game have also gone out on loan in the January window. Shalina Zadorsky and Rhea Percival. So a lot has changed in a short space of time for Robert Villa-Hammond's fast-evolving side. But they're under pressure here. Kelly, who has options. Still going. Almost found Kasper Rai. Instead, it's England. He looks crossfield. Bizet, possibilities for Spurs. Looks up and only saw Naz in front of her, then tries to get past Wahabi, who wins the duel. Kelly. Down the line for Hemp. Hemp twisting and turning and winning the corner. When Hemp's so impressive, so tough to stop. Describes herself as feeling like a veteran already, despite, of course, being so young. It's already well past 100 games for Manchester City since signing from Bristol City back in 2018. It's got a framed shirt from her 100th Manchester City appearance on her wall at home. Cross put in. Dealt with well by the sliding Bizet. Spurs clear. But they need to do so much more, of course, than just repel the threat at this late stage. And with things as they are, into the last minute of the 90. Manchester City closing in. I mentioned early on in this game that this is the kind of fixture that if Manchester City want to show they're serious about trying to win what would be a first WSL title since 2016, even with Spurs' improvement and all the good things they're doing under Robert Villahamon, Gareth Taylor's side have to find a way to come here and win. They look like they're doing that, and they might be about to put the icing on the cake through Fowler, who is stopped in the nick of time by Ramona Petzelberger. But again, Manchester City, you would have to say, looking so much more likely to find a third goal. Spurs look likely to find a goal to get back into the contest. Minimum of 5 added minutes in this one. Green would go short to Park. Park out to Kelly. And Wahabi inside for Park. He's fighting for it up against England. And then Petzelberger got involved to help them complete the clearance. Matilda Vinberg is stripped and ready to come on for Spurs. That will happen, one would imagine, at the next break in play. The Swedish international midfielder signed in January. Will not have long to make an impact at all, as Spurs can't really go anywhere. They'll get the throw, but that will be delayed for a chance to bring Matilda Vinberg on. And Rosella Ayan, the Moroccan international, will come on as well. Matilda Vinberg making her second appearance in the WSL for Spurs, signing from the Swedish side Hammarby in the January window. If England makes way as well. They've done a good job, Manchester City, today to largely stop England having quite as much influence on the game as she might have liked. Midway through stoppage time now. Speculative strike easily dealt with by Vortikova. Sumanen trying to create something. Not quite that time. We're at the point where Spurs pretty much need to score twice consecutively. I'd say twice consecutively, literally back to back. And Chandri in the corner gets it out to Fowler. Manchester City set for another success in the head-to-head between these two. Assuming they hold out, it will be 10 wins from 11 against Spurs since they first met in February 2019. Almost 5 years ago now, when goals from Steph Houghton, Lauren Hemp and Gemma Bonner gave Manchester City victory in an FA Cup meeting. And it will be 8 wins from 9 in their WSL head-to-heads after this one. 2-1 away win for Spurs, their only success in September 2021 when a Karima Benamor-Tayeb own goal and one from Rachel Williams gave Spurs victory. Only 4 Spurs players from that starting lineup still at the club. That shows you how much turnover there's been in the last 2.5 years. Flipped around the corner by Angodal, too much on it. Says a lot about the luxury of Manchester City's squad that Felipe Angodal is making her first WSL start since when these sides met almost exactly a couple of months ago. Bartrick clears in the last minute of the minimum 5 added on. Marcella Ryan couldn't quite bring it under control. Now Park. Hemp back for Wahabi. Forward by Keating. And for all Spurs' positives to take from this one, will be yet another disappointing result against Manchester City. 3-0, 1-0, 3-0, 3-1, 7-0. And now 2-0 to be added to that run of 6 straight wins for the blue side of Manchester against the white part of North London. Of course, both clubs winning their respective derbies earlier on this season, in the league that is. Into overtime in stoppage time. A professional performance from Manchester City, whose 7th consecutive win across all competitions means they cut the gap back to being 3 points behind leaders Chelsea. And it is a first loss in 5 for Spurs, who for a 6th time in a row find themselves losing against Manchester City. An own goal from Amy Turner, and Khadija Bunny-Shaw made it 2-0 7 minutes into the second half. Do the trick for the visitors. And the long trip back up north to Manchester will seem so much shorter with 3 points in their back pocket to celebrate. Yet another successful day out for Gareth Taylor's team. Khadija Bunny-Shaw with her 10th goal in her last 5 games against Spurs. She is the scourge of Spurs, and she did it again after Turner, unfortunately, had chested the ball into her own net from Lauren Hemp's goal in the early part of this contest. Spurs will find themselves staying in 6th then. Manchester City keeping up their chase of Chelsea. Thank you very much for joining us here. It's finished Tottenham Hotspur 0, Manchester City 2. Let's take a look back at the best bits of this contest. Alex Greenwood almost gave Manchester City a very early lead. Barbara Votikova with a really nice save, tipping that round the post. That was the own goal, a really peculiar one. Turner didn't really have Shaw that close to her, but ends up awkwardly putting it into her own net. It is the life of a defender. It's a ruthless one. Mistakes can cost your team in the harshest way possible. Thomas smashed over there. And then Chloe Kelly here setting up Coombs, who had 2 bites at the cherry but couldn't quite get the shot off. And then Naila Wahabi very much unable to score what would have been her first Manchester City goal. This was a key moment. Martha Thomas had the ball in the net with around half an hour gone, but it was disallowed. We were not in line with it, but even from our point of view, it looked like she might have been off. Brought back from her jubilation. It was a very nice move, though, from Spurs, right from the halfway line that led to the opportunity. And they did start to grow in confidence as the first half went on. Strike over the bar there from Celine Bizet. And in the second half, Khadija Bunny-Short did what she so often does against Spurs. Had scored hat-tricks in her last 2 games against them. She only got 1 today, but a very valuable one it was. Lauren Hemp laying it up on a plate. Feed the bun, as the Manchester City fans and indeed some of the players like to talk about. Feed the bun and she will score, and she certainly did there, smashing that in on her left foot for a 13th in the WSL this season, a 14th in all competitions. And then Spurs did have this promising move, Wang Shuang on debut, laying it up for Beth England to try and set up the proverbial grandstand finish, but England could only find the gloves of Chiara Keating. So victory for Manchester City, and a deserved one across the piece, you'd have to say, based on the pressure and possession they exacted. A 7th straight win in all competitions for them. A first loss in their last 5 for Spurs. I've been Michael McCann. Thank you very much for joining us wherever you've been.